Friday Night Lights. This is Ryan Still here. Why'd you stop? With Brian Schilling of Schilling Films. Keep going. Keep going. No, I'm just kidding. You can stop. You can stop. This is Brian Schilling, Schilling Film. This is not what he normally does. He's a film director. Well, he does do that. Creative. I mean, just when I met you, you were telling me about Ableton. You're telling me about it was everywhere.
I do many things at one time.
There we go. There
Not
we go.
always.
Jack of all trades. Was it Jack of all trades, master of none? Is that what they call it? I'm a master of none.
I tried to work as a master of one and then start expanding.
Okay.
Horizontal and vertical learning. I learned this term one time where you get good at one thing and then you just start expanding and building out your education horizontally.
I like that. Okay, man, they're dropping gems today on Friday Night Lights. So what's going on? Okay, so I'm a big fan of film. I'm a film buff. I'm not, like in your realm. I got my ideas of film. I watch film breakdowns and all that, and I just love concepts of that. And I love to talk to people who are like in film. So I'm talking about taking me back. What's the first movie you saw? What was like, man, I got to get into this film. Was it a kid? Was it a teenager? Because for me, music, I did sports early on, and then later on, when I got older, that's when like music hit me. Sure.
Some of the earliest movies that I can remember, and some of them probably too early, like Predator, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, and Tim Burton back then was really exciting. Movies that influenced me besides that, Natural Born Killers, Stanley Kubrick's movies. I was watching a lot of things before the R rating, some of that didn't pay much attention.
I was a badass. I don't care.
Yeah,
That's what I watch.
So reading a lot of comic books, watching a lot of movies, and I loved the escapism of it. I loved getting out of reality.
Yeah.
So a lot of my work now is real people, real places, portraits, which allows me to fill my cup with personal projects, doing some of that.
And you also recently got into acting as well, right?
I'm working on getting into acting.
Yeah, okay.
I've had a lot of time behind the camera.
That was going to be my next thing. Is it interesting because sometimes actors are like, actor just acts, and then eventually, wait, it's directed by this actor. It's directed. They turn and they expand horizontally.
Sure, yeah.
They expand horizontally. So you're doing it from a perspective of, hey, I've been behind the camera. I know what it is I want to do, but now you know what you want to see on that lens.
Right. Well, that is an advantage I've already found out. Over quarantine, I did a lot deeper dive into characters, motivation, storytelling, and getting into the acting and finding what is the end game for that scene or the entire film helps. Because like you might have one goal and I have another goal.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to get candy and I'm trying to go smoke a cigarette. And in that scene, that's the challenge. Is like I just want to go smoke a cigarette,
and I just want to eat this candy.
Right, but we have to stay together. So
we have to
like do the three-legged race to like compromise, and that's every scene has some kind of challenge
that you have to face and see what it is.
The typical 3-act has the thesis where you introduce the person, introduce their character. Then you have the antithesis, which is the challenge that disrupts their entire way of life. And then the synthesis, which is how it comes out at the end.
There we go. So how long has Schilling Film been a brand?
Schilling Film's been around for about 13 years.
Oh, very
nice. So it started in 2010, and so 2014 now, so 14 years.
Congratulations, man. That's longevity right there. What they say, 10 years to master something, like building a business or brand, things of that nature. So for you to still be in it and going, and then
I made it through quarantine.
Yeah.
A lot of people fell out.
Yeah. So and it just killed the spirit of a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Because being from Chicago, it's like a vibrant city. So we're like, we want to go out here, you want to go out there. Especially me as a music artist, I'm sure it's film, locations, all that. So it changed everything. You can't have because I'm sure a set's full of so many people, the team, the actors, everything.
It was awful. I got by with some one-man band kind of stuff, setting up the camera, doing the lighting,
Yeah.
like very low key. But the nice thing about it was that it allowed, like quarantine, allowed me to study other things. Like, didn't have the work, so I started dabbling in music more.
Yeah.
Printed some stickers with a friend of mine. Read a lot, so I made the best of it.
Yeah, and then from there, I know we were talking earlier. You mentioned uh, rental equipment.
Yeah.
So was that something that came during quarantine? You're like, "Ah, all this stuff, or as you were building Schilling Film, you're like,
Yes.
hey, other people need to rent stuff, and I got all this stuff.
Totally. So as I bought equipment, anytime I was not using it, there's a website called ShareGrid,
Mm.
which is like an Airbnb for film gear. So I list some of my gear, and I want to get a lot more on there to rent out through another company I've made called CineAssassin, which is a combination of cinema and assassin. I've got a bit of I like warrior mentality and samurai.
Yeah. I like
So I've kind of
You read the Five Rings? You read the
I've
Five
read-
Rings?
yes.
Yes. You say samurai stuff, then Five Rings.
I got a water tattoo.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So from there, I like how this is, like you said, you go vertical and you go
Yeah.
horizontal. So for those who don't know, Friday Night Lights, we're in Studio 28 inside of Workshop 4200. That's at 4200 West Diversey Avenue. You recently just got yourself a new space. Let's give it up. Let's give it up for Brian right there. Y'all gonna see it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be amazing. It's in the early stages. So what's this new space called? What's it entail? Like, what's your vision for it?
So that's Unit 33, and
Oh, there you go. 3-3. Come on.
yeah, Velleity.art is the website. I want this to be a creative space for filmmakers, photographers, events, meeting, maker, creator space. Have a sewing machine. I want to get a welder.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Keep it going.
Cameras.
What do they do in the ships? They will like dig coal so the ship can keep moving. Like,
We could have a
training for that. Like, hey, we're gonna train, so we're gonna get you trained so you can do that.
yeah. So I'll run Velleity Studios, which is also my music label. Will be available to rent for all kinds of different things, and then CineAssassin will rent the gear, and then Schilling Film will be
The creative,
my mind.
the brains, the mind. History lesson. Shout out to Scotty Rocks. History lesson. So, who did you train with or under?
Well, if we're talking about in Chicago, then then I moved from Los Angeles, where I went right after school, and I met a photographer named Paul Elledge in LA, a Chicago-based photographer, and he needed a new full-timer, so I sent a letter next day mail, and I got the job.
So, are you from Chicago or are you from LA?
I'm from the Quad Cities, which is on the Iowa-Illinois border. The Mississippi is a little bit north.
I performed in Quad Cities before.
Sure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. You're sorry to hear that.
I don't know.
It's like, why do you think I'm here? I perform for no one.
I don't know what it's like there anymore. I'm
Yeah.
from Moline, and I had a good childhood. When I go back now, it's a lot different. I don't know what it's like to live there
Very
now.
versatile.
Yeah.
So, what are some gems you can give some up and coming people, or people that say lost the passion during the pandemic and then want to get back into it?
Lost their passion. I mean, you got to show up, and the less you feel like it, then sometimes the more you need to show up. That's how I used to operate on the gym. Like, I don't feel like working out today. Well, once I get to the gym and I start doing a couple reps,
You're in it.
then like you get into the zone. Like you forget like everything else that's out there, and you just like get into your headspace. So show up, like be disciplined, have a space, get a routine.
What can you say for film? Is it same thing? Film?
All of them. I mean, any hobby, any skill you want to gain.
You got to show up. That's
Every day. Set a timer, a 5-minute timer, a 25-minute Pomodoro.
I also tell people like set a to-do list, like a task, like, and if you get through 70% of it, like cool, roll over the task to the next day.
Sure.
Set deadlines as well for yourself, and especially if you work with others. Because film making is a team effort.
Giant teams.
They're relying on you. You're relying on him. He's relying on him. It's a full circle. Same thing. Studio 28. Sky relies on me. I rely on him. We got to be on time with it, and we got to show up.
Music as well. Like that's how I'm essentially from knowing how production and film works. I'm slowly turning wheels and learning about music production and helping a couple friends. Get the cover art all lined up, and I'm a producer, baby.